Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the DC Alliance podcast. Of course, I am your host, Clay, and with me every single week is my buddy, Travis. How you doing, Travis?
I feel like you're setting me up for failure just for saying that with the little reveal I told you about 3 minutes
Oh, well,
ago.
I said like always, but yes, next
I
week, Travis will be gone. I will be actually casting with my Ranger Alliance co-host Joe. We will be talking some DC next week together, which should be fun. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna miss. Just let listeners know it's not like I'm not gone from hosting for good. Don't worry about that. I haven't succumbed to the Hunger Games yet. Uh, Obviously, I'm joking. No, I just need a couple days off. We're going for a camping trip Monday, Tuesday with the in-laws, so that should be fun. It's been a little bit of an eventful week, Clay. I had some ups and downs, I guess we'll say, because I had this weird, I don't know, um, trying to think of the best way to say it. It's like Fast and Furious moment. I was
family.
no, not even nothing to do with family.
Oh,
Actual
okay.
cars. Okay, let me
Oh,
rephrase
oh,
that.
oh, okay.
The first Fast and the Furious. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I'm driving, and there's this driveway for somebody. So I'm going to deliver, and apparently the driveway is curved where you can only come in on one angle, and the other angle is a steep drop off. No idea. Drove over the drop off, and it felt like I took a 30-foot high jump and completely. The car's been in the garage for a day and a half now. I'm scared to get the bill.
That's awesome.
No, it's not awesome because it was awesome until I got out of the car. I was like, yeah, that's not going to be good. So, terrible terribleness there. But we got a fantastic trailer that I'm very excited to talk about, and you have
We have a lot to talk about. Let's
you
just
have
leave
you
it
have,
at that.
you have a
I,
fist of us
I,
staring at the
I,
green
I
screen.
have words to discuss tonight for sure. Chris over here has already said he is here for my rant mode. He has seen the brunt of it. We were chatting it up earlier today with some stuff that has been in the nerdom of DC recently. We will definitely uh, talk more about that. Chris also says, or you hit a coyote and have insurance cover your 12,000 worth of damage. Yeah, Chris, it is absolutely insane how much that one coyote cost you. And for the fact that that thing was gone for like almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think. So
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
crazy. We have a lot of that kind of stuff happen here, Clay. Like foxes. I won't say deer because I don't want to take any shots at anyone that thinks deer is scary when you're driving. But just Google moose, Moose. Have a look because we have like between 50 and 100, or yeah, moose accidents a year. And a lot of the times the car is unrecognizable, like rolled off. Like if you survive, you're lucky. The only thing that really is like transport trucks are the only like they hit them, they just keep on going.
That's the
And
only thing that survives a
yeah, they
moose.
just go screw. Every other vehicle is essentially totaled beyond recognizable looks. It's crazy, and they're so stupid. They don't know what they're doing. They just sit it on the road, and we don't have any lights. You have like hundreds of miles of just driving. It's a little treacherous. I try to stay off the road on the highways at nighttime because of that. Yeah.
So I also want to make sure, Travis, you can hear me fine. I can hear you fine, right? I know we had some technical difficulties last week, and I have been self-conscious about it ever since. So I just wanted to make sure everything
You
is
don't
good.
our Kevin Feige's on top of this. He's got everything out, and if he hears that the audios are wrong, he will let us know, like he did last week, because he is, like I said,
That is
the
true.
Kevin
That is
Feige
true.
of the network, and you know who I'm
So
talking about.
before we jump into everything tonight, let's go ahead and jump right into the plugs. Before we plug everything, though, I just want to remind everybody to go ahead and review the solo feed of DC Alliance. We are running a little bit of a contest for 3 separate Superman graphic novels trades. I think I would call them trades. 2 of them being, well, one of them being in the Rebirth era, while 2 of them also being in the New 52 era. Really fun stories. They're fun. They're fun. Superman
Free is
Reborn,
even more fun.
Free is also fun. I really loved the implications of what Superman Reborn had. So go review the solo feed. Send a snapshot of that review to either me, Travis, or the DC Alliance Twitter account, so that way we know, hey, we see your review, or you can email it to us. So now that is out of the
5 right as of now. I think
as of right now, there is 5. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on to the plugs. Of course, we have 9 different shows going all across 7 days a week, starting with the World's Finest True Believers. Chris had a new episode today. Excellent episode over a Superman story that I had never heard before. So it is a definite book that, although they had some choice words about the writer, I'm very interested in reading for sure. So go check that episode out. Of course, we are next on the docket. Well, sorry, no.
You almost did it for 2 weeks in a row.
I did almost do it for 2 weeks in a row. Ranger Alliance is also on Mondays every other week compared to World's Finest True Believers. Me and Tony just recently reviewed 3 episodes. We are going to be reviewing 2 comic books as well as episodes on the next episode. Then it is us. Of course, we go live every Monday. Show drops on Tuesdays. Then it is superhero discussions. I believe we keeping the same schedule? Like, have y'all?
I think
gone
so.
through
Yes,
everything?
because of Disney Plus and Marvel.
Oh
being
yeah, that's right.
there.
Marvel has now made
So,
it like a
and
thing.
There may be another guest for this week's episode of Superhero Discussions. I don't want to. And you may have listened to him in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, very nice.
On
nice.
another podcast.
I am looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking
and it's
forward
not
to
a
that.
member of the GUA.
I'm also gearing up to our Young Justice discussions on superhero discussions. I am currently on episode 4 of season 1, going through them slowly. I'm probably going to get most of them out there like during the weekend, kind of binge them. I still don't I don't know if the first 4 episodes even break my top 5 of the first season. But that is another discussion for superhero discussions, of course. And then we have Katie's Day. I like how we all call it Katie's Day. I've noticed it with every single plug. We always call it Katie's Day. She has her own day to herself, and I just think that's awesome. Of course, Slice of Film and Star Wars Alliance. This Sunday, we are going to be going live for Path of Destruction, me and Katie, and quite possibly others. We're not entirely sure yet. We're going to have a discussion about that book. I recently finished the trilogy. Just finishing that, I can possibly say this is it's my only Legends as of right now in continuity that I'm reading, and it's already my favorite. I don't know if other ones top it, but it is definitely really, really awesome. Me and Nathan, he's in the comments. We have had discussions about it as well. Really, really good book. Check that out before we go live on Sunday. Submit your questions at Star Wars Alliance, or you can send them to me or Katie. And then, of course, on Fridays, Thursday nights is Marvel Alliance, and then Fridays the feed goes live there. And then, of course, the weekend Jim has the entire weekend with the Marvel and DC roundups. So let's go ahead and jump in. Man, my dog is so loud today.
We are not. We have Patreon as well.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing. That is definitely a thing. Patreon, of course, to keep our lanterns charged, we want to always plug the Patreon. So you either have the $1 or $5 tiers. $1 tier is basically just, hey, I'll support. $5 is to get your exclusive access. I know that you and Chris did the documentary on Netflix recently, correct?
Yeah, the sports ball, as you probably would call it.
The sports.
We did. We took a look at the Last Dance documentary, 10-part documentary. Very fun. I would implore anyone that, I don't know, is a fan of sports or played sports, check that out. It's kind of gets to the core of what I think about a lot of like just competitiveness. I grew up since I was like 2 or 3 playing basically every sport that I could get my hands on. So it was just a really nice discussion with Chris, and we kind of just highlighted some of the things we enjoyed, some of the things we didn't enjoy. Like, it was all crafted under one person's point of view, but in saying that, I think we had a good discussion. And Nathan, we will when you start calling me Travis, so I can take back my name, because you're 75% of the problem with all these different nicknames. They're going in left and right and up and down. My name is so far in the past now, I'll never see it again. But yeah, it was fun. We're planning in like 3 weeks, I think, the last Ronin drops, so we'll get on that immediately when it comes out, and I just can't wait. That's the book. I was talking to Chris the other day about the 2 books that are like most important to me. Probably my most important is the hardcover issue of the last Ronin, when they're all put together, when it's finally finished, because whenever that comes out, that is definitely my go-to thing that I'm going to get, because I've been loving that story. And look for that, listeners, and more as well. We're going to try to get more content out in August, and I will not have a blank void behind me when I record next for DC Alliance, because I will be in a new place.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's why. Okay, cool. That's cool. I mean, I think it's so funny. Now, of course, I will always call you Travis. I will not call you 57. But I think it's absolutely hilarious that every now and again, when Snell decides to record in his basement, you'll have the exact same white wall behind you when you record. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Now that all of that is out of the way, we can finally jump into what we have for tonight. We have movie news, we have TV news, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League news, kind of, not really. And then, of course, we have our questions and comics corner. So let's go ahead and jump right into the movie news. Biggest thing I would say is we'll leave the new stuff that we found out today for last. But Suicide Squad has some positive reviews. Travis, do you have some of those up now?
Yes, I do, Clay.
What are people saying about Suicide Squad?
Only positive things, Clay. Only positive things. It's crazy. I haven't seen DC had the 2 back-to-back movies that are pretty much universally praised. Justice League, for one, had a lot of great reviews, but I think Suicide Squad is blown out of the water. We have a lot. I'm going to go with Eric Davis first. I had the best time watching the Suicide Squad. It is a swing for the fences kind of comic book movie, and I love that. It's big, bold, visually stunning. You will see James Gunn's horror roots splattered all over the thing. It's violent but hilarious, angry but also sweet, very sweet. That's a pretty solid review. Another one from a different, like, I haven't heard of this person before. The Suicide Squad is a film that delivers on its promise. It's very fun. It's fun, very chaotic, and extremely violent, hilarious, and keeps you on the edge of your seat. This is exactly how a Suicide Squad movie should look. The cast chemistry is superb. And
what was that noise?
Because I hate when people say stuff like that, Clay. That's like saying that David Ayer didn't understand Suicide Squad. The other movie, even though it made $750 million, didn't like.
Okay, now I can understand. I can understand that, and I can understand how they probably meant that.
Yeah.
When I hear that, though, like, I also think of like, oh, they're referencing it to the comic. Probably.
If they were, yes, I would agree. But I just felt like it was more of a like, this is how
a little jab towards
movie has to be. At least
okay.
But now, like, I'm overtly positive. So, but this is really exciting stuff. Like all these positive reviews, like from your normal
There's
Frosty said, I absolutely love Suicide Squad. The movie is super violent, extremely funny, and a huge home run for James Gunn and DC. Tons of surprises and things I wasn't expecting. Just a great movie. So I did this. I was excited before, but this has got me very jazzed up. This is gonna be our first movie together discussing it. I can't wait for it.
now, compared to our last episode, we talked about where we sat as far as what the opening weekend would be. With these positive reviews, does that move it at all for you?
It does. It goes up because this word of mouth is early. DC never lifts the embargo so early. Like this was, I haven't remember them lifting the embargo this early since maybe Wonder Woman.
I was going to say
Maybe?
Wonder Woman was probably the last time for a DC film.
Yeah, now
That,
we're not talking maybe like Marvel, which is just basically
So
home run derby.
You said that it was going to be between Birds of Prey and Shazam.
I think it could be better than both of those now. I think it could go between like
So-
even better than Aquaman. Just from the Black Widow thing, the HBO Max wild card is something that I
So
don't
it
know.
would be between Aquaman and Justice League, then, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 weeks early. Yeah, Chris, that's what I was thinking. Like it shows a lot of confidence. Still,
It does
which they
show a
never
lot
really
of
have.
confidence. I think, and I will continue to say this, one of their biggest flexes of confidence is, in fact, James Gunn. You can have your opinions about him, but he has made 2 very successful superhero movies. As you know, I feel differently over the second one that he has made, but it is what it is, and they are pushing. The fact that he is the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise.
I don't know why that's a bad thing. Like I see some. Well, actually, never mind. It's only bad to one group of people, and they're the crazy group of people that we will be discussing very shortly. We'll get to those.
Very
We'll get to
shortly.
those plans. But Clay, I really think that this is going to be a huge movie, especially after the upswing with Black Widow. I think I can't say it for certain because Delta variant can go crazy. We don't have it. We haven't had it. I can't remember last time we had a case here. Must have been a few weeks now. If we had a regular COVID case, unfortunately, there's a few people stuck in on a boat. Like I want to say, 50 miles offshore. That they're continuing to get cases, but unless they're really bad, they're not let in until it.
Are they just giving it to each other like in a giant cycle?
I assume
that
so.
is insane.
Yeah, but no, I don't know how. It's really, I don't know where they're not Canadian. I don't think the ship's Canadian. I'm so confused on that. But it's just offshore here. But besides that, like I said to you lots of times, COVID hasn't really. So I'm going to see this movie in theaters, and I expect it to be as Black Widow was. But I don't know about other places where there is. The Delta variant is going to be smart people. If I were you, if I was in a big city and the Delta variant was rampant and I was a HBO Max owner, I wouldn't move.
I'm not going to move either. It'll be, again, just like Black Widow. I'm going to be staying up until probably 2 a.m. when it drops on HBO Max, and I will watch it then. Now, I will tell you, I'm in a weird scenario because San Antonio is a rather large city.
Yeah.
And then right next to it is a small town called Bernie. It's growing, but it's small. I am right between.
I know where that town is, Clay.
I
watch a YouTube channel with these guys from Texas called the Game Chasers, and they go around.
Hilarious.
They go around to all different places in Texas. That's where they're. And they be San Antonio, Houston. There's so many different weird towns like Texarkana, Arkansas and Kansas combined. I can't remember Texarkana. I can't remember.
Yeah, Texarkana.
Yeah, there you go. So,
I live right between San Antonio and Bernie.
Okay.
Now, right next to my job is an AMC theater that I will say it was dying long before COVID, but somehow it is staying afloat. I think that I will be able to watch. I will watch Suicide Squad on HBO Max first, quite possibly 2 times, and then the third time I will probably try to see it in theaters. Of course, I am fully vaccinated. I've heard a lot of different, things about the Delta variant and the vaccines and how they fight and blah, blah, blah. And I've heard a lot of things from other vaccines, but I haven't heard anything about Moderna yet when it comes to the Delta variant. So like, I'm kind of like wanting to be like, hey, I haven't heard anything, so that could be good, right? I said it in our chat. For some reason, people think that like once you're vaccinated, you can jump off a roof and just like be okay. And it's just like, that's not how vaccines work, people. Like just chill out, Because even my wife was asking me, because of the variants that are, developing, I don't even know when we are supposed to get vaccinated again, because people have been saying, hey, it's 6 months, saying, no, it's 9 months.
Did you get 2 doses?
We did get 2 doses, but people are saying that there is quite possibly another 2 that we will get in like 6 to 9 months or something like that.
I've only heard boosters, like any other.
Oh, that is true. Like the flu.
Yeah, there's a different one for every year, and that's kind of what I think we're getting at here. So, but it's all still up in the air, like you said, and it's tougher for you because you're, like I said, you're close to these big cities, and that's, like I said, we have one movie theater here in Ackley. There was 2, but the other one didn't stand the test of time for COVID and never opened back up. It was a really small theater that didn't it was. Let's say it was dying out before that happened, but I'm going to be there right dang in the middle for this one.
We are talking about it in Chris. We are talking about it in the relevance to me actually being able to see a movie in theaters. Yes, I did.
I lose less sleep for you because you're American and you got HBO Max, which I can't access. So I would rather sit at home and watch it on my TV than go into the theater. And this
100%.
And we haven't had a case here, Clay, in a couple weeks. It's just because I have more comfort. There's certain movies I like the theater experience, but no, I'm okay with watching the Suicide Squad by myself on my couch sitting there. Like, I can't tell you the amazing time I had watching Justice League. Just sat on my couch with my awesome ass TV, kick back, could pause it when I went to use the bathroom, could pause it for get a snack. Like it's so much more convenient. And I hate that the whole thing where the simultaneous release gets crapped on when there's people that don't want to go to theater and they should suffer because they don't want to go to theater. They should have to wait 45 more days. That's where you create the piracy in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. But outside of Suicide Squad, we do have other movie news. One of them being Jason Momoa is going to be starting his portion of filming in Aquaman 2. He is dyeing his hair blonde. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The first Aquaman, he didn't have blonde hair, but in Justice League, he kind of had like a blondish tone to it, correct?
Theatrical,
yes.
I kind
of want to say even on Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I don't remember having like his hair was the same as I've always seen him. Like,
not like blonde, but it had almost like a highlight look to it. Because I saw a GIF of when he is jumping into the ocean right after he talks to Bruce.
Yeah. Well, he has that kind of hair normally. Speaking from personal experience, his hair is kind of lighter. Not like the full blonde. I do know.
He had some blonde highlights in Aquaman, I thought, says Chris. I will have to watch Aquaman again because I don't necessarily remember that.
Well, I'm pretty sure he went from. Well, he was going. No, like I met him, Clay, and and played hockey with him, and he was going to Aquaman. He was from Justice League going to Aquaman, I think.
He made it sound like in his Instagram photo that he had never done it before. So that's why I was a little confused. Yeah. He was like, oh, I heard they have more fun or something like that, making the offhand comment. But yeah, really excited to see him going in on his filming. We have, of course, Wrapped is Black Adam. Now, there has been a little bit of a change to that because I can't remember
Adam Smasher, Noah Atwell.
Okay, I couldn't remember his last name, but Noah said that he is still filming his portions of the film. And then there's this debate that, like, okay, The Rock actually has Jungle Cruise coming up pretty soon, and of course he has to do all the media for that, so he probably had to wrap his filming very, very quickly, which is actually insane to think about. Chris says could have been way the sun has hit his hair. Oh, okay, that's also true. Yeah, for Jason Momoa. So Black Adam has somewhat, wrapped filming as far as
the Black Adam himself has wrapped.
The Rock has wrapped his portion of the filming. That doesn't necessarily mean that other people have also.
I want to say something. I want to give a moment of props. I want a little clap to the whole Black Adam crew. You filmed every scene Black Adam had. Didn't see a single costume. Didn't see one.
A single costume, no reveal, no set photos, nothing.
People at the Flash.
Bravo.
People at the Flash, take some notice, because we're going to go from that right into that, because those are some.
Yes, but also I do want to also plug Marvel Alliance co-host Brent's other show, Fans Without Borders. They had an episode today. Him and Ray talked a little bit about how what is the benefits to set photos and things like that. You generate talk also, but some of us fans want to be surprised by things, and we always talk about, like, okay, what should be held for the trailers, what shouldn't be shown at all, and things like that. And I think this, like you said, is a feat within itself. We have one of the biggest stars in Hollywood being The Rock, and quite possibly, like, the biggest suit reveal probably we've seen since Ben Affleck's Batman, probably.
I think Rock's done himself a disservice, because I think he's overhyped this, and you can't do much with the Black Adam costume.
But if you remember, because we weren't friends back then. I mean, we met probably a year and a half ago. The Batman Ben Affleck suit was one that they held on forever.
Oh, yeah.
They did not reveal that at all. And technically the same for Pattinson's. Now, Pattinson's, I feel like, was revealed fairly quickly. But Ben Affleck's Batman, we didn't get like an actual photo of him for the longest time. I think the first reveal was that very classic leaked footage of the San Diego Comic-Con trailer.
The only thing I'll say is he wasn't cast. He wasn't talking about the role since 2008, and posting pictures of having like great meetings, and always circling back to talking about it, but never like he had 12 years. I just think it's a lot of build up.
Yeah, yes, true, and I think I was talking to my co-host for Batman News Weekly. He's wanting to know, like, hey, when are we? Is he going to have like a cape or a hood or whatever? It's quite possible that might actually come in like CGI form, honestly, because from what we have seen, it's just like his bodysuit, basically. There's no extra accessories to it. So let's go ahead and jump into the Flash set photos.
Yeah, so we won't show them here because we don't want to get shut down. But they were interesting, to say the least. I saw first that people were thinking it was Barry and a stunt double, but we've gotten more set photos today that kind of show us that it's another Barry, probably from Batman's universe, like Michael Keaton's Batman. Mm-hmm. That would be my guess, or Sasakai's Supergirl, one of the two. I really think that Sasakai's Supergirl will be on the same Earth as Michael Keaton's Batman.
There is a lot of conflicting rumors. I'm not gonna say them any out loud, just in case some of them ended up being true. There is some wild stuff going as far as like people on Reddit and all sorts of stuff.
God, yeah.
So these set photos, we had, because I really don't want to talk about her, but I just thought it was absolutely hilarious how Grace thought that it was her that broke the news 7 hours later when everybody else had already shared the photos and videos and everything else. She's like, oh my gosh, look, it's two flashes, and like we saw the stunt double. It could be a stunt double, or it could actually be somebody who is actually playing Barry at the exact same time that Urza is playing him in the same scene. So
Yeah.
we see one video when we see Urza like kind of doing like stretches or whatever, and then we see another photo with him walking down the street. We have also seen what looks like the Batcave for sure, and we get the classic Batmobile as well. A lot of set photos, and there's also, it looks like, some sort of test footage for Sasha Calle in her Supergirl outfit.
And it looked like a picture from Barry literally in the Batcave from the movie was taken. Yes. So those are pretty interesting. I want to say something that I've been biting my tongue. I was going to even ask the Marvel Alliance guys this on their last episode, because I've seen some complaints here from online from people about seeing these set photos and ruining the movie for them. And circling back, like I'll touch, because I was going to talk about that with them, with the Black Widow, people like not wanting spoilers. I've seen people, like even people I follow, complain that about them seeing Black Widow spoilers on Twitter, and same thing with hearing people complain about seeing set photos on Twitter. I have one essential thing that drives me crazy. It's Twitter. It's a social network place that people go to discuss things. It brings them together, like if they're discussing the same thing, like the Black Widow movie, for example. I have an easy solution to you. Stay off Twitter. It's not that hard.
That's exactly
I never get off my phone. If there's something super important, I either delete my Twitter app and I'll download it again. Like with Zack Snyder's Justice League, if I couldn't watch it, I wouldn't get on Twitter. And I see these people complaining, "Oh, you guys couldn't wait 24 hours. You couldn't wait to discuss this." And same thing with when you hear new shows. Like everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're out in full force time." Because remember, DCU shows would come on at like 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. and you get on Twitter and people would, guess what? Stay off Twitter till you watch it. And that's what drives me crazy. You see people complain about these set photos, and same thing. Like Twitter is where people go discuss it. And yes, I know there's special circumstances, like even in game. Yes, but even that I still think is complete crack. If you didn't see it, stay offline until you watch it. Enjoy the discussion. Oh, sorry, Bob from Idaho didn't watch Titans premiere, Clay. So we got to wait, and we're not allowed to discuss it on Twitter because he might accidentally click on Twitter and see it. I've been holding that in because I've seen too many of those about people complaining about people talking about that crap the last couple weeks. Like, oh, sorry, you're so special. We forgot. Twitter got shut down. Nobody can discuss anything that you haven't seen yet until you see it. Like, give me a freaking break. Just close Twitter.
It's the exact same thing that Travis Snell posted in the talks of Loki. Now, there's some people. Now, I am pretty sure 100%, because I see it every single morning a new episode is done. Most of the GOA wakes up and either watches it in bed, or it is the first thing that they do once they get out of bed is watch the new episode of whatever big thing we're all watching. And we personally in our GOA chat say, hey, has anybody watched this, or blah, blah, blah. And we talk about spoilers after the fact that everybody has seen it.
Yeah.
When it comes to the rest of Twitter, I honestly don't care. For me, there's some things that I genuinely want to watch, and so I don't look for spoilers. But if there's stuff that I'm not really interested in watching, such as the freaking Space Jam 2, the spoilers galore. Go crazy. I will freaking see it. Okay, cool. I see a spoiler. Whatever. Chris said, I know Bob. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you know what, Bob? Bob needs to learn how to either stay up like the champs or watch it first thing in the morning. And if he doesn't have time, delete your Twitter account.
Or just don't open it. I know it's hard. I know it's addicting, but it just drives me crazy, Clay, because I saw a lot of that. Like, oh, I can't believe that you guys couldn't even wait 24 hours. Oh, sorry, random people from all around the world watched a season finale of Loki and talked about it. before you got a chance to. Oh, the horror, instead of you just staying off and letting everyone. I think this whole spoiler thing is garbage. Now, personal chats, like personal messages, if you're going to tweet spoilers, chances are, if you're going to message people spoilers, chances are they're not going to talk to you very much if they don't want to hear the spoilers. So, like the personal chat thing, I think it's great. We all just put down, we watched it, and then when everyone in chat watched it, we discussed it. But that doesn't prevent anybody from going on after they watch it and say, because I do see a lot of this, Black Widow was such and such and such and such, and Loki was such and such and such and such. People give their thoughts in the actual Twitter sphere. Maybe they don't go in depth in the scenes, but you know what I mean. So I just want to get that out there, because I know people were saying about the Flash thing, like, oh, you're ruining the movie for me, and I'm just like, just very easy way to avoid all that stuff.
To quote somebody else this week, you're only seeing 1% on the set photos.
Yeah.
But before we we're going to talk about Batgirl, actually. And right after, well, technically, this is a movie, right? Not a show.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Technically, so we can call it movie news. We're going to talk about Batgirl, and then we are going to take our first break.
Yeah.
But Deadline has reported that Batgirl talent lineups for test for Barbara Gordon role. Now, the names that have been thrown out here are Isabella Merced, Zoe Dutch, Leslie Grace Martinez, and Haley Lou Richardson. Now, those 4 names...
Chris understood that reference, Clay.
Those 4 names are, of course, the lineup of what we could see become Batgirl. Now, from what I see here, we have 2 under the Latinx community, and 2 of the others are white. Now, I have been seeing conflicting reports here. Deadline is saying that Haley Lou Richardson might have a bout out before the test process, while others have said that she is in the final 2 that DC is looking at, or WB is looking at. I don't trust the person who first reported that. Just because...
Remember Army Hammer Batman, anyone?
Exactly.
Now he's out eating people.
But that's not confirmed. Stop.
Allegedly.
I am really hoping, because they also say that Leslie Grace, which her full name is Leslie Grace Martinez, is also one of the 2. I am good with... I think any of these are a great choice. I can see all of them in the role. For me personally, I would like some Latin representation within the DCEU, but that is just me. Travis, how do you feel about all this?
I'm going to be completely honest with you, Clay, because I did this after I read this tweet. I looked every one of these actresses up on IMDb, and besides Zoe Deutch being in Amazing Spider-Man as an extra, essentially, I haven't seen anything. Any of these.
You haven't seen Dora the Explorer live action?
I don't even think I saw the cartoon. So
So Isabella, I believe, is the actress from the live action Dora the Explorer. Now, I believe Leslie Grace Martinez has been recently. She was in The Heights, which was the musical that just recently was in theaters and HBO Max. So you could possibly see that later in the year with. I was going to say HBO Max. Sorry, Travis. I love you, buddy.
I guess I'll find it out the back of a truck.
I'm sure you will. But like I said, I'm good with any of these 4. Although I would personally like some Latinx representation.
I would like to see that for you, Clay, to add someone who has saw myself represented in movies and television so much that I never even thought about it until I basically start talking to everyone else. You know what I mean? Like through my informative years, I never had to question. Like I always thought, like, oh, I could be this, or I could be that, or I could be this, or I could be that. Because that's all I saw on television. So Now, obviously, we're not watching Batman to see or Batgirl to see like, oh, I can be Batgirl now. Everyone calm down. Don't take things too literal.
You can be Batgirl if you really wanted to, Travis.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you.
Yes. But before we move on to TV news, let's go ahead and take our first ad break. Of course, we do not choose these ads. Recently, I haven't heard anybody really complain about the noise of the ads.
So we're cutting that out. We're cutting that out.
We're going to cut that out from now on. But I will say, man, do I get tired of hearing the same ad 7 times before I can get back to an episode.
They're not, the ads aren't attacking me for smoking recreational marijuana anymore, so I'm cool with the ads now. Whatever. Like they were Wendy's last time. I'm cool with that. Like they're not attacking me anymore, Clay. So I'm okay with what we're rolling out now.
All right, so we will be back in 3, 2, 1. And we are back. Now, let's go ahead and jump into Titans Season 3. Now, this is a discussion that we will... I just hit my mic. I am sorry for any of those who just blew out their eardrum. I just said that we weren't going to warn anybody about the ads, but I didn't tell you that I wouldn't be able to break your eardrum during the show. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer.
Yes, I will bring this trailer up right now.
Of course... Travis got to react to it. I was planning on reacting with him, but I will be completely honest. That trailer dropped like right after my lunch break, and I would have jumped on that reaction with him. Unfortunately, I was not able to. So let's go ahead and play that now. Of course, if you're on the YouTube channel, you can watch with us. If you're not, then
use your imagination.
Open your YouTube app and just watch it.
Unless you're in Canada, because that stuff costs data.
That is also true.
We get this. No HBO Max, data caps.
Man, see, I've been thinking about moving to Canada. Maybe not. Jeez.
I was there earlier thinking like we picked 2 buckets of strawberries, like freshly grown strawberries here. And I'm like, I love this place. And now it's just like, no, HBO Max sucks. That roller coaster. But yeah, I really enjoyed this trailer and I can't wait to talk about it here. So it looks like you're coming back to Gotham.
Yeah, it looks like Gotham is going to be the hub for the Titans instead of Los Angeles with their Titans Tower.
How about this, like for like one of the first lessons, like sending out there by himself.
Yeah, I mean, it is very Batman for him to do that to Dick Grayson. Now, we do get a lot of Todd in here.
Which is
of
good.
Course, we're seeing this whole like, hey,
Joker,
you guys don't want me, then I'll go do my own thing kind of vibes here. Of course, we see the smile, and we see, of course, somebody beating Jason with a crowbar.
It's the Joker. It is for sure now, because they teased that Scarecrow. I don't know why, or I don't even know if they teased. I think they might have teased it actually.
Yes. So
during DC Fandom.
In Fandom, they did talk about Scarecrow. In this trailer, we see that Scarecrow is actually going to be working with the Titans as like some sort of weird consultant. I did. Went through the entire. You clicked a button, and now we're not on the trailer. No, there we go.
I got this.
My goodness.
Yeah, so Batman's ally was found dead. There's a few things I have here. Tim Drake, that's a Tim Drake showing.
We only get one scene with Tim Drake in this trailer. I'm so glad that they're, kind of keeping him off of these trailers. I want to see
what I want to talk about with you right here.
Okay.
So Bruce Glenn's Batman, Bruce drops the crowbar that was essentially used to kill him. And he says, it's over for me, be a better Batman. He killed Joker right there, didn't he? Like, it's over for me, be a better Batman.
You think he killed Joker?
I think he killed Joker and he's gone. He's retired. That's it. He's done. I really think that's why he's saying that, dude. It's over for me. Be a better Batman.
I mean, that would be very, very... we just read a Batman 66 story of an older Batman or an older Bruce who did, in fact, kill Joker. So
yes,
it's plausible.
But and
That's an
also,
interesting
Clay.
take. I didn't even think about that.
Well, the other thing that clues me into this is the Titans are operating out of Gotham this full season, and he's saying be a better Batman to Dick. So essentially, what I'm gathering is he's not being Batman anymore after he kills
I mean,
Joker.
but Chris also has a point here. He says, couldn't it just be because Jason may be dead?
It
You
could very
know?
well be, and that could be the Tim part of it too, right? It could be Tim. Tim is what brings Bruce back from uh, this whole like death, this depression, and
Yeah.
him giving up
We
on
do
Batman.
get our first glimpse of Barbara Gordon. Before this, we see the Red Hood.
What do you think
Now,
of the Red Hood look? Because
I'm
I've seen conflicting things.
I'm telling you, he looks too much like Robot Man. Like the mask is too square. Like you said before, it almost has like an Iron Man vibe to it. Also,
I loved it. I thought it looked great, to be honest with you. But
I
this is
think
just our first look at it
we're
too.
getting small glimpse, and it's like very quick. I hope that the show can change my mind on it. But I'm still very excited about getting Red Hood either way,
Well,
and the proper way as well.
that intro shot was very similar to Under the Red Hood. If anybody,
Yes.
anime special, and maybe superhero discussions will try and review that before Titans season 3 ends.
Now, I will say this actually confirms that Barbara will only have one leg in the show, just like the actor or the actress who is playing her. We saw our first glimpse at Gizmo, who is a Teen Titans villain. Most people wouldn't probably know him from the Teen Titans cartoon.
We have more
back in 2004.
We have more Hawk and Dove at each other again.
More Bay. Ooh. Then we see Scarecrow at this point, and this is where they do talk about him possibly consulting with Dick Grayson.
Yeah, and he's like, look, he's talking about Red Hood. It seems like he knows that Bruce is Batman. So I'm just wondering how he figured that out.
It'll be interesting to see. I feel at this point, like this Bruce Wayne, oh man, we saw that dumb tiger again. He needs to have more than just the tiger.
Oh, it's
a must.
I will be shocked. His name is Beast Boy, not Tiger Boy.
We also got a shot of Raven.
Yes, in that weird costume.
In the white costume. Now, this is actually a callback to new Teen Titans way back in the day, where the Amazons had all white and silver armor. So, of course, she went to the Amazons at the end of season 2.
Also, she, in various comics and animated movies and such, she can literally bring people back to life, and she turns white, and her whole outfit is white, and that kind of can go on that there with, especially with Donna being fried like shish kebab.
So there's going to be a spoiler for the show in about 5 seconds. So click ahead if you want, or stick around if you want to hear this discussion. I'm actually going to talk to Travis about something that Ray from Fans Without Borders discussed on his own show that kind of got me thinking. And this is my own original thought, but it spins off of what he had to say about DC and the multiverse and things like that. So if you look at the poster that is behind us on the YouTube channel, you see Dick Grayson, Nightwing, you see Starfire, you see Superboy, you see Raven, as well as the Red Hood, but there is somebody in between Superboy and Raven, that person being Donna.
Yeah.
Why is she here? Why is she on the posters if she is dead? Of course, you have said it's quite possible that Raven is going to be bringing her back to life with her powers. Now, I have a completely different thought. When did Crisis show up on the CW? What year was Crisis?
2019.
2019?
January 2019.
When did season 2 of Titans debut?
I I'm not exactly sure on that.
Let's see your Titans.
I'm more sure on the Crisis because it was such a monumental letdown for me.
Let's see here. Season
2019?
2 was 2019.
Yeah.
So within the same year, it ended. So my thought is a little flawed, but they could still do it. So, shoot, I thought it was Dead Man. So my thought is, Ray brought up the fact that like the multiverse crisis and everything else kind of was like a reset button for other shows. They were like, hey, if you want to do something, here is this crisis event. We did see one clip of Titans in that crisis event. That was technically before season 2. So there is a little bit of a flaw there.
That was right after it seemed like it was right after the season 1 premiere, maybe? So I could be wrong. That could be filmed. That could be filmed later. I don't know when that was filmed, that little thing.
Who knows? But I'm essentially saying they could have erased her death. Now, will that kind of be ballsy to do? Yes. Considering how much crap people talked about that season finale.
You know what I don't think is a smart idea?
Hmm.
Fixing shitty writing with more shitty writing, because that is just the easiest cop out. And
it is an easy cop out. I'm not saying that it's not an easy cop out, but I'm saying that Ray was technically right with the way they presented the multiverse. It connected everything. Streaming shows, DCEU.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The CW verse.
That's true.
So if they want to MacGuffin something, they can definitely do it in that kind of way. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I'm saying if they wanted to, they definitely could.
Was that the question you were going to ask me? Do I think that is going to happen?
Do you think that Crisis could be used in the sense of getting Donna back? Are they going to pretend like it never happened?
There is, I can't say no because it's WB, but I really don't see any logical way to do that. Like, you've already set Raven off on her own like storyline and path for the third season. So not only are you changing things with Donna, you got to change things with her as well. Where are you setting her? What are you setting her up for? Because essentially, like I said,
my plan is technically flawed because of the dates of Crisis and the dates of the season 2.
I just don't think that they're going to use
season 2
that
ending,
because you can't just fix. Like I said, you got to change Raven's whole storyline as well. So what are you going to say? Crisis not only brought Donna back, but completely like change Raven to go there, and we wouldn't see this white outfit. So no, it would be if I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet my money that there is no chance of that they're not going to use that for that. But like you said, they did show it, and it is established in that multiverse, and it was one of the Earths that was still surviving when we showed them all at the end. So
true.
They can do it, but I really don't see that happening. I hope they do. You know what I hope they do? Come up with a logical way to explain it and actually have it all happen. And you'd be like, okay, Raven's character grew. Okay, Dinah's character took a step back because she came back from the dead and she wasn't exactly herself. So like, there is things you can do. Just write it good. Don't have a giant electrical tower falling and have Superboy there standing literally right next to Donna Troy, and Superboy's impervious to paint, to everything. He just watches her fry like a sugar. No, all you need to do for me to be okay with that was have him chase after Mercy Graves and go off and not be there. And then you're like, oh, there's only one superpower being here. Come on down.
We know how flawed the season finales are.
Yeah.
We're hoping that changes with season 3, but it is what it is. Before we go on to our hopefully final ad break, let's go ahead and move to some of the more
Quick news
TV
items.
quick news items. Y the Last Man teaser came out. It was, I think, only about like 48 seconds, a minute and some odd seconds. Didn't really do anything except for show you the premise of the show, which like basically half of humanity is gone except for one man. I want to ask you, because I did ask this in the GUA chat. This is technically a DC property because it's Vertigo. Are you going to be watching the show?
Are we going to be reviewing the show?
Well, that's why I'm asking. Are you going to be watching the show? I'm giving you the chance to opt out now.
When does this show come on?
It's going to be debuting. The trailer did show the premiere date. The premiere date is September 13th.
We will, at the very least, talk about the pilot.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
I will go ahead and say this because Chris has already made me self-conscious about every freaking show.
He's in your head.
Bullying me. I will say this. I will review every episode. And I will attach it to an after credits of each of our shows if you do not want to talk about it.
I'll talk about the pilot, but
we'll talk about the pilot, and then from then on, if you decide against it, I will put that at an end credits of each episode. So I will be reviewing every episode of Y the Last Man premiering on September 13th.
Of course I'm going to end up watching it all.
Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily have to review with me, because if it's easier for me to do, I may just record it immediately after I watch the episode when it premieres. So that way I will have it ready to just like attached to the audio of the live feed when we are finished here. But as well as the premiere date for Y the Last Man, Peacemaker has wrapped officially. Now, there have been a couple set photos of them like having like a big like, hurrah, we finished filming. We actually got the first look at Vigilante's costume, and it is super comic accurate, which I very much appreciate.
I gotta say, I enjoy it too, Clay. It harkens more back to traditional rather than what we saw on Arrow, we'll say.
Yes.
Arrow's more ski mask and
I mean, don't get me wrong,
the ski mask had tech. I kind of enjoyed it.
There is some vigilante like depictions in comics that is very much the ski mask. Yeah. So it was kind of comic book accurate, but I
prefer the one we're seeing in Peacemaker. And from everything I'm reading with John Cena, I know last week even I was critical of them doing this, but even though it could be successful, I still don't think it's a recipe for success, because if you look at Marvel, because obviously you have to in this sense, they built up towards their TV shows and took first TV shows. I don't want the Marvel Alliance guys destroying me like they did when I posted this in chat, because they're bullies, listeners. They're the bullies of the Geek Ultimate Alliance.
Very much so.
Yeah. So
Chris, I'm talking to you.
I didn't think that it was. Even if this is successful, I thought it was great how Disney and Marvel started their TV shows by giving you established actors we've seen in the MCU and giving us stories for these characters we want to see backstory about. Obviously, we're going to get new things as well with Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Marvels, all that stuff. But just for their first couple, it was nice to see them. You got to speak. Everything got to be T's. I's dotted and T's crossed when you're even trying to put out a point in the GUA chat these days. But yeah, that honestly was the smart decision. And even though I'm hearing here that Peacekeeper's going to be great and John Cena is like a standout in the Suicide Squad, which if that came out and he was a standout, I would be like, yeah, good decision, go with this. But doing it beforehand took a lot of balls, but it's not a recipe to make smart decisions continually going over, because you're not going to know 100% what they're going to like. You might like something, like the executives might like something that the audience don't even have any clue or don't like at all. But this looks like it will work out this time. But I'm hesitant for them to do some shows. Like I was hesitant with WB, but it looks like this is going to work out. So I'm positive. I'm been like excited for John Cena in the Suicide Squad. So I think that his own show. I think he's a very underrated actor compared to other people, and compared to other wrestlers, we'll even say. I think some get overrated because they'll just jump into any old action or any movie at all.
I will say this: it was kind of cool his entrance on what was it? Was it WWE last night?
Oh yeah. I think Snell shared it or liked it or something. Come across.
No, I've been seeing the video everywhere. I've been seeing the video everywhere. It is actually really, really cool that he was able to make that appearance, especially like on like one of the first weekends that people are actually like in the stadium again. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead and take our last ad break here. And then we will talk
motion comic.
The motion comic of Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And we are back. By the way, there is no censored version of this conversation, so if you are offended by anything that I say, my Twitter account is at fanboyclay. My DMs are open. I am at fanboyclay on every social media, so if you would like to reach me at anything that is more convenient to you, say hello to the block button afterward. Or we can actually have a conversation if you would like to try to have a conversation, but I doubt any of you will who are actually going to try to attack me on this. These stupid motherfuckers. Jesus Christ.
Chris Sorry for yelling. No, Chris said earmuffs. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, how do I start this? So, I actually have, I'm going to share this on my screen.
Are you going?
Let's go ahead and move to this. So, we had received some news that there were some very familiar art pieces in this Zack Snyder's Justice League motion comic. And I'm just going to show you a few if you would like to go on the YouTube channel. There is a lot more. A lot more. It is way more than 1%. I am guessing this is 100% of everything. You don't understand how motion comics work, people. If this is only 1% of what you thought a motion comic was going to be, then that motion comic was going to be way too long and nobody was actually going to watch and stay plugged in. I'm sorry. That's just the way it's going to be. Again, at Fanboy Clay, if you want to have any conversations with me.
Why? You're speaking facts.
So, as you can see here, this is Jim Lee's art. Below is a traced version of Jim Lee's art. If you continue, this is, oh shoot, I almost forgot his name. This is the Injustice artist.
No.
Redondo. Yeah. Above is the traced version of his art. And the bottom is the original. More, we see Ivan Reyes, Superman, Batman, and New 52. And there is a horrible, horrible traced version of it, acting as though instead of Superman, like this other photo, this is Batman getting hit by Omega beams. That's the first of the 4. Then we see Jim Lee's art of Superman punching Darkseid. Then we get the traced version of Superman punching Darkseid. Then we have Jim Lee's art again in the comic For Tomorrow. And there is the traced version of that art. Then we have Lex Luthor in Doomsday Clock. And then we have the traced version of it.
No. Time out.
Do you know what
No, time out. He doesn't. The rest of them at least look like they're the way they do in the movies. I mean, no. He doesn't.
Yeah. No. This is how you know. This is how you know that he is tracing. And they call this inspired by. Do you know what I find absolutely hilarious about this inspirational art?
That it wasn't all going to go to charity.
No, no, no. This is not. That's bullshit. What I find hilarious about majority of these art pieces is that they're taking art from comic book stories that are written by Jeff Johns. The irony, the absolute irony. I don't give two shits about Jeff Johns. Most of these people say they don't give two shits about Jeff Johns, but they're going to take his critically acclaimed stories and bum the art off of them.
I'd be more
That's
pissed
what I
off if
find.
I was
That's what I find hilarious. That's what I find hilarious.
If I was
Now,
an actual artist, I'd be pretty pissed. But like the people who write the stories,
so that goes on for like 8 hours of the first day. And we get a response from the Lightcast, the people who made the announcement of the motion comic. Their response is, in light of recent activity, we are making adjustments to the art that has been used for the project. Our goal is that the motion comic to be well received by everyone. We all care deeply about the property and the talent involved. We want to thank everyone for their input, both positive and negative, and cannot wait for you to view and experience the dreamscapes of the Justice League as we envisioned. They are taking the credit of Zack Snyder's Justice League for them.
especially since they said they're using
This
the storyboards.
project is nonprofit and is designed to raise funds for AFSP and help build awareness for Restore the Snyderverse. You stupid C words. I'm not going to say that word live because I've already seen somebody in the GUA chat that says that word is very offensive, and I will not say it here live. Now, I have said it many times in the GUA chat. I have said it many times on Twitter. I'm going to censor myself with that word, but that is how I feel about these people. We don't need another fucking plane driving over the WB lot. They know what the fuck the Restore the Snyderverse is. And I'm sorry for anybody who's listening to this while they have children around. Headphones are your best friend. Everybody knows what Restore the Snyderverse is. That's why we got Zack Snyder's Justice League in the first place. There is no awareness that is needed for the Restore the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder himself has moved on. He is at Netflix, and he is about to make his own fucking Star Wars movie. Not really, but I mean, he's taking his pitch and making it his own IP.
He's doing what
he has moved on.
He's doing what Star Wars did to create Star Wars.
Yeah,
essentially.
Exactly. This man is about to move on and move up in his life, and all you want him to do is be in this toxic relationship.
Clay.
Not only that, you want to take what he did and try to make money off of it.
I want to say one point to that. It's Snyder could shut this whole thing down, this whole idea down, if he just said what you just said, which is, I'm going to Netflix, I've turned a page, I've turned a chapter, and I'm not going to do DC Comics anymore.
Okay, and I will tell you this. Nobody who it would be in Zack Snyder's shoes would say that. That's why he didn't say it during his filming or his creation of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it's going to get him more views for that to get him more jobs. It's unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles.
They don't even. He doesn't know the numbers for this movie. He doesn't know. Nobody knows numbers.
And you think that he has not heard about any of this right now?
He's gonna. What do you mean by the motion comic?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about that in general. I'm just talking about when you said the whole thing about Netflix. I just wanted to touch on the point about him not coming back. Like, you know,
he has. He said WB is very anti Zack Snyder. That is already. He's already said, hey, and I have a good thing going on Netflix.
But
And he named everything that he is planning to do on Netflix.
no. We got to be 100% transparent. He said, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't. He's beat around the bush. Don't go give me. He's 100% not closed the door. He's even come close to closing the door. If I got treated the way he was treated, I wouldn't even think about going back to them. I wouldn't even. Like that wouldn't even be, especially when I'm with Netflix.
The reason why he's left the door open, quote unquote, is to keep all of these people watching his Netflix stuff.
That I don't think that
100%.
No, I don't think that is going to stop them. It might stop the scatter person, but the Snyder crazies are going to watch everything that he puts out. So
even if he says, I will never do a DC movie again.
Yeah, there's people that watch this stupid owl movie, Clay. Like, I never watched it, so sorry, it may or may not be stupid. I thought
I watched it in theaters. I didn't know it was a Zack Snyder film when I watched it.
Yeah, was it any good?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay. Oh, geez. Well,
I like the animation. But yeah, so continuing on this response, he says, we have reviewed your concerns and visual goal, and the visual goal of this project is to pay homage to the wonderful artists that are part of the DC world. To give clarity on what that means, there are 12 parts to this motion comic, and each part will have a different art flow to show the diversity in the DC world and the amazing art that is created from passionate fans. We have a full cast of artists devoting their time to working on this nonprofit project. The art that has been shared is only 1% of a part of this project. We are very excited for all of you to see the final product that will come out later this year. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Smells like a lot of bullshit going on there, Clay.
I'm allergic to bullshit.
That's all that statement was. It was complete. It's funny. It's funny
immediately
too,
after
Clay's going to give you the timeline. You can see how quickly things go from bad to worse.
Immediately after this response, 3 of the biggest parts of this project and supporters immediately say, hey, we're not going to be a part of this. Don't ask me any questions. That is my final say so. And I don't have to ask anything because the question is, oh shit, I'm attached to really bad, fucked up, stupid people. I need to get away more than just social distancing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this, I've said this from the very beginning. And I don't care how many people say, oh, you should never just be glad something is canceled. People didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You need to read between the freaking lines here. These are IPs that WB owns, that DC owns. There is a trading of funds to create a product with owned IPs. This was never being made. Never. And for people to attach themselves to it was stupid to begin with. Now, I'm going to be jumping the gun here, but it's canceled. It's canceled. And I will say, I am surprised that because there are 2 actors, 3 actors technically 4 actors that have been in production for TV and film that were attached to this project because it was for charity. You played those people like a fucking fiddle, saying, oh, but it's for charity. No, it wasn't. It was, you were trying to get your pockets full because you wanted to take advantage of desperate fans. And you thought, hey, you know what? All of these people made fun of us because we always got our scoops wrong. Well, you know what? We're going to take all your money. We're going to pretend that all of this is going to AFSP. And we're going to just make this, right? So after we saw all those people say, hey, we're no longer a part of this, we're no longer supporting this, we get another response from Lightcast saying, It comes with a heavy heart. No, cue the violin, the piano. It comes with a heavy heart that we have announced the Dreamscapes of Justice League, a motion comic, has been officially canceled. As fans of the Snyderverse, we and a group of fellow fans took it upon ourselves to see a continuation of the canceled story of Justice League come to life. With the involvement of actors, artists, musicians, and many others, we all agreed to give our talents and time for free to achieve this goal and support the AFSP charity at the same time. Oh man, it just hurts my heart reading this. Hold on. What we did not foresee was the general uneasiness about the project from general public. Some rare targeted harassment towards members of the team, and the countless legalities we've dealt with, and ultimately our own mistakes on certain parts of the project. We sincerely apologize to all those of you who supported us along the way, and we acknowledge our shortcomings as highlighted by others. All work on the project has been seized immediately, with all parties involved agreeing it is for the best. Many thanks to the supporters and those who held us accountable in our faults. Excuse me while I go cry in a corner real quick. Bullshit is what I have to say.
100% right, Clay. It's really funny that I want to just make it clear. I would have watched a DC version of this. I've watched Marvel motion comics. I haven't watched any DC, but I've watched a couple X-Men, an Iron Man, a Wolverine, and a Black Widow Iron Man one. There's a lot of you can make money on this.
There are actual motion comics that you can go out there and watch that are legitimate, made by the IPs or by the companies that own the IPs. Now, let me just review a line here really, really quick. What we did not foresee was the general uneasiness about the project from general public, some rare targeted harassment bullshit towards members of the team, the countless legalities. How stupid are you to think, hey, this is a company that almost feels as old as time, that owns some of the biggest heroes of all time, and we're going to try to make money off of it? Are you that stupid to think that you would not have legalities to deal with? Why would you think that at all?
Because they didn't understand the word charity, Clay. They thought charity meant charity was a blanket that went around them that shielded them from criticism, critique, or any sort of rules in this real world. Essentially, in my opinion, they didn't understand what charity meant. They also don't understand what IPs and all that jazz. They're not giving you anything for free. Free.
After this,
this is your favorite part of the story.
This is quite possibly my favorite part. After this, they then went on to call out Zack Snyder on his filming of BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel, and others, and calling it plagiarism.
Then, yet again, not realizing the difference between motion comic and live action adaptation. That would not surprise me. I thought Joe from our GWay chat had it best, saying that essentially you're blaming everybody else.
It's the classic, I got caught, so I'm going to blame everybody else for the same thing.
So what about he did something wrong? What about this? What about that? Instead of all is the same, which is not.
And I will tell you this right now. This whole targeted harassment bullshit that they're trying to pass, calling you out for plagiarism, which is in fact illegal, is not harassment. It is stating, hey, you are stealing somebody's art. That is not okay. That is what that statement is.
Oh, 100%.
And they have the balls to say, oh, that's harassment.
And we're going to get into another thing here because we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, and that word is what really set me off a little bit. Like, they had the balls. Let me be completely frank, listeners. They don't have the balls for anything. They hide behind a faceless, nameless account and get out with this nonsense. Now, I'm sure some people know who the culture nerd actually is. I wouldn't even care. They're blocked. Same thing as Lightcast. They're blocked. But they hide behind these profiles where you can't figure out who they actually are. And they can say and do what they want and have very little repercussions until something like this happens where everyone bands together and be like, yeah, you're crap. They'll be back. They'll come crawling back in a week, or 2, or a month, and then hoping that people forget. But it's just so exhausting.
No. This is not something that I'm going to forget, because they are the scum of the earth, and they need to leave any type of social media and just go cry in a corner in their mother's basement.
The only thing that'll sadden me is for sure now I've lost 1 or 2. So the more of these clients that actually leave Twitter, the less black accounts I'll have. So I may have crossed back from 1,000 to the 990s because of the Lightcast leaving Twitter, because he was blocked ages ago before Zack Snyder's Justice League was even announced to come out. I blocked a lot of these crazy people because, if somebody don't like the movie, I'm not going to attack you for it. If somebody not going to attack you. And this stuff is just laughable. I'm glad they're gone, Clay. I really loved how pissed off it made you, because I can tell how much you love comics in general. And this just takes so many shots, dumps on creators' works, just taking from everything.
No, and also
trash.
I'm just telling you right now, the whole reason why I'm going to college right now is my big dream is to make audio dramas. I made one recently. Well, I say recently. It was during COVID, and it was less than a minute or 2. And I was like, hey, this is what I did for fun. I want to do this as a job. I'm going to college to work for a big company to be able to do this. That is the route that you take. Or if you have the money, you go to WB and say, hey, I want to work with you in this project. Let's partner up. That's what you do. These people thought, hey, I'm just going to do it and see how much money I can make. Now, they have, I think one of the voice actors said that this raised $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever dollars in charity funds.
Okay.
I don't know. I hope it's charity funds and not in somebody's pocket. So who knows?
See, if it was the same crowds that you've seen for AFSP for quite a while, I wouldn't have any question of where the money's going. But when you attach people like the Lightcast and the culture nerd and stuff like that to it, then, like you said, I don't know where that could have went. They could have went to charity, but just the people that got out of it, smart to get out of it. I would just run if it was me, and I'm so glad this is basically.
Oh, and then somebody tried to start the release the motion comic. I'm deleting. I went ahead and just freaking muted that hashtag as quickly as I saw it.
You shared the guy, and I clicked, and I was like, oh. The mayor guy, you're blocked again. You're blocked as well. So, these things.
This is, of course, again, we are DC fans and we love DC content.
And I love all 3 of the Zack Snyder's DC movies. Love them all. They're my favorite 3 DC movies. I am super jacked for the Suicide Squad, especially with these reviews. Like, I couldn't be more excited. So I'm sick of the fighting.
People need you can have a favorite director. You can enjoy somebody's creative view. You guys need to stop attaching your whole lives depending on what these creators do or do not do.
I wish that they would actually listen to that too, Clay, because that's all some people need, just to hear that, understand that one concept, but that'll never happen.
I like DC content, so I'm going to watch DC content. Now, I have learned if some DC content is not for me, I'm not going to watch it via The Flash right now, Legends of Tomorrow right now. Like, just not going to watch it. Now, does that mean I'm not going to watch it like forever? No, I will get to it eventually. But that's what's going to happen. And plus, Chris and Brent are bullying me into watching Y the Last Man, so I'm going to watch that.
That's a lot better than bullying you into watching The Flash, sir. A lot better than bullying you into watching that. So I think you made the right call there.
All right, so I did lie the last time. We are actually going to take one more ad break, and we're going to jump into our comics corner. Yes. Now, I will say, and I'm actually going to drop this on you right now before we go into our ad break. We are talking issue 5, which means issue 6, the last issue, is going to be next week, which means we have
coming next week. You're punting it to the week after. Sorry, Joe, but I will want to discuss
Okay, until the week after. So we will discuss it in 2 weeks. So I will go ahead and say it now. We are going, because we technically talked about this before.
Yes.
In regards to what our next discussions will be, which will technically, will it be Titans or will it be Suicide Squad?
It'll be on the 12th. It'll be Monday the 12th, so it'll be Titans.
So, but wait, so when is Suicide Squad?
Wait, sorry, I'm trying to see this now. I'm looking at July on the calendar.
So in August, so this
sometime
week,
in
next
August,
week,
yes.
So for us, it'll be the 6th is when you come back.
So the 9th.
So the next one will be the 9th.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, do you want to read something Titans related, or do you want to read something Suicide Squad related?
We're doing Titans.
You want to do Titans? Okay, so we will go ahead and announce it now. We are going to be talking Titans Earth 1 Volume 1. We're going to read the entire thing and talk about it in one go around. And then we will actually do another contest for that volume.
I'm going to even throw in another wrinkle. We're going to do that contest for the first 2 volumes.
We're going to do the first 2 volumes.
2 volumes,
okay.
Hardcover. That we're only going to read the first volume, but we're going to give away to one of the listeners. I think we're going to do a contest with people in the chat this time, and we're going to give away those 2 books to somebody.
Okay, cool.
1 and 2. Yeah.
Well, I am definitely behind that. We can definitely do that for sure. So right after we talk about Nightwing, we're going to be talking Titans, Earth 1, Volume 1, giving both of those volumes away. I like that. I definitely like that. So let's go ahead and jump into our last ad break, and we will talk the craziness that happened in New Order number 5.
One other thing before we go to our break, listeners, this is just a one-time thing of us picking the comic and not having you guys select. Don't worry. After we finish Titans and get that book given to one of you guys, we will put the poll back up and you will be choosing the comics that we read again. This is just a little special thing with Titans Season 3 coming out. We kind of want to coordinate it and do another giveaway, so this kind of works out really well.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So let's go ahead and jump into that last ad break right now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And we are back. All right. So, Nightwing New Order number 5. I told everybody last week I would not share what was on the cover for that one until today. My gosh.
Oh, man.
The big man himself. The big man himself.
It reminds me a lot of him in the Apocalypse War.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, Nightwing: A New Order #5. Of course, this is a Kyle Higgins story. So we open up with Kate finding out that Liz was the person that was giving out that information, but there was no technical confirmation of that until, of course, there was an alarm. Kate immediately knew what this alarm meant. It meant that the Titans were actually there at their base and getting Jake. We know this because, of course, Mr. Freeze captured them. Well, caught them red-handed. Now, a lot happens really, really fast here. Of course, they're wanting to fight off Mr. Freeze somehow with that blast from the last issue. Actually took away Wally West's speed for ever. We're not entirely sure. I don't believe so. Because it's still kind of unclear at the end of this issue whether his speed is completely gone. But as of right now, his speed is not there. Somehow, Mr. Freeze was able to stop him. I think it has to deal with the fact that it is cold and slows down the molecules.
Says, we'll see it later. Cyborg even mentions like he found a way to stop or to interact with Speed Force.
Somehow interact with the Speed Force. Now, I think this is actually really, really creepy. They did knock Mr. Freeze back, and then when the power goes out, you actually see Mr. Freeze's head actually detach from the body with all of these like spider-like legs. It's actually really, really creepy here.
I've seen that in Batman the Animated Series before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see, of course, Corey and Dick, just acting like they have always been heroes, fighting the good fight here. I love older Dick Grayson. He just looks awesome. He looks like a badass.
I love how he looks.
For sure.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, his attitude for sure.
He needs a swift kick in the nuts. And of course, because Bruce isn't there, he needs a swift kick in the nuts.
Well, speaking of Bruce, we finally get to see his fate in this issue 100%. We see Lois Lane being the badass Blue Lantern that she is, able to ward off everybody. And then actually Liz is actually to help them escape. But also Jake is. We see Jake go full blast with his powers to create an opening for them to escape. Back at the hideout for the Titans, they are trying to get Wally West back to 100%. And this is where we see the worst of the worst in Dick Grayson. After all of what just transpired, he is still saying, hey, just because the law is basically it is basically saying, hey, just because this one thing is wrong does not mean the whole thing is wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, if there is mold on my bread, I'm not just going to cut the mold out. I'm going to throw out the entire loaf of bread.
Yes. And also I love what Cyborg says. I want to say maybe in the next panel where he basically calls him a hypocrite and says, oh, it's okay. Like you're okay with enforcing the laws. You don't have to
Yeah, he says you believe in this system just as long as you don't have to live by the rules. Nothing I love more than a militant hypocrite.
Yeah,
is the exact words.
He's a wacky
and it is
hypocrite.
So true.
Yeah,
so true.
It's very frustrating.
And I love Jake's response as well. He's like, "No, this is wrong." And Dick Grayson is about to say something. He's like, no. You're going to say that I'm too young. You're going to say I don't understand. You're going to say all of these different things. But what you did is wrong because you took away the choice that these people once had.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you think he came to that conclusion or was helped to find that conclusion with his discussions with Alfred?
I think so. In a small way, but I think because from what this book has told us, even before we started reading in issue 1, technically Jake had these powers.
Yeah,
he got to observe how the world treats those with powers, and so that's why he was hiding them in the first place. but that's going to influence his decisions on who he is as a person. So I think having that discussion with Alfred before he died was a big leap into whatever corner he was eventually going to be in.
Yeah.
And he says here, but I also know there were good people who, when given the choice, used that what they had to do the right thing. And then you just took that choice away from them. I love that line. I
Yes.
absolutely love
Beautiful.
it because it really just shoves everything in Dick Grayson's face. Like, hey, you made a choice and destroyed everybody else's choice with that choice. And it's not cool. So they immediately knock out Dick Grayson, and they are taking Jake to Metropolis. They said that somebody is waiting for them. They don't necessarily say who. And of course, when they get out of the vehicle, they are bombarded by some civilians. But lo and behold, the big blue Boy Scout jumps in and stops everybody. I love seeing this monster mountain of a man just run in and still be a hero, because he does mention in this comic that he no longer has his powers and he is armored to the T. It looks great.
And you think, why, if they took the power from Superman, like they take it from anybody, and why would they? But we get a little glimpse as to why in a few panels, and it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, so Superman is able to take down all of these thugs, and we see that he is actually teamed up with Lex Luthor, a one-armed Lex Luthor. Of course, this is a casualty of what transpired in Metropolis. And Jake has this conversation with Superman. He's like, are you crazy? Like, why are you teaming up with Lex Luthor? Like, I've heard all the stories, like what he's done to you and everything else. And Superman says, your dad didn't build that device that caused this. And Jake was like, yeah, I know. It was something from Apocalypse, and, it was something that Batman had. And then Bruce says, well, but your dad is the one who talked him out of using it. Bruce wanted to use this. Bruce wanted to use that weapon, which is crazy to think about because we had the discussion last issue. Batman would have never done what Dick Grayson did. And that is actually not true.
Well, we see why, I think, in the next panel. I think we see why he wanted to activate it.
I think so, because, Clark starts to talk to Jake about, like, hey, do you know how he died? He's like, oh, I think I know a little bit. And we see this panel. No words. No story to it. Just this page. This page of right in front of the cases of the costumes. You see Dick Grayson and Jason Todd's costumes in the background. You see Superman holding Batman by the neck, and he is giving him a much more than a lobotomy. He is radiating his body with heat vision.
And it also looks like he has his neck broken by that point, or something along those lines. Yeah, it's pretty cruel.
He is boiling Batman's body. And you're like, how the fuck did that happen? Well, you learn that it was mind control.
Black kryptonite.
Yep.
It wasn't actually. I looked it up too, and black kryptonite isn't mind control. It's splitting the person into two halves, the good and bad.
So you could say that maybe Kyle Higgins didn't get his research right, or the fact that this was probably maybe his evil version. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
it could very well be.
And it's also an Elseworld story, so maybe in an alternate universe, Kryptonite has different, interactions. You
don't even really need to do that, Clay, because after that, someone could have smashed the black kryptonite, and Superman went like two pieces came back, and took the black kryptonite out of him, and he, what I mean? Like it very easy to just have a couple lines that could solve that. So that's not an issue for me. It's just I thought it was very
So Lex
think.
Luthor says, "Hey, this was not my doing either." So we don't know who.
Yeah.
We don't know who gave Superman the black kryptonite, but Superman does say that he has spent every day after that trying to atone for what he had done. Um, and Lex Luthor gives this like speech that has been said like multiple times throughout this issue already, but it's just really cracking down to Jake like, hey, like parents will be willing to do anything. And for the fact that Dick Grayson just lost a father figure after almost immediately learning that he is going to become a father himself, he needed to protect that son that he will eventually have, and that is why he decided to use the machine. But this last page, boy, did it get my blood boiling.
Well, I immediately wrote you, listeners. I wrote Clay right after reading this and said, "I like, please let Jake kick Dick in the nuts. Like he deserves a complete nut shot for how much of a colossal ass he's been this entire freaking run." And I ultimately think Jake is going to end up killing him.
So for reference, for those listening and not actually looking at the YouTube channel, Dick Grayson calls Kate Kane and says, "Hey, I have a choice to make, and you have a choice to make. We can make a deal. I can give you what you want, and we can make all of this go away. Do you hear me, Kate?" And he says, "We can end this for good." Man, how the mighty have fallen, dude. How the mighty have fallen. Absolutely insane.
What a great story, though. What a great issue. And I'm so glad we got the Batman backstory. And Jake is coming into his own. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I feel like he could potentially lose his mother, his father. There's so many things on the table. That final issue is, I can't wait to read it, and I don't want to read it at the same time because I don't want to finish this great run.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I absolutely love it. I did not remember the ending of this issue, so when I read it, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, listeners, like I said, I immediately put down what I was reading and wrote Clay, like, this is bullshit. Like, what the hell? Clay now figured funny is Clay didn't really remember how it happened either, so Clay kind of was just as surprised as I was.
And I will tell you, I kind of remember the ending. I don't remember all the in between though. So the next issue is going to be absolutely insane. We're going to be reading that in 2 weeks. Of course, Joe will be coming back, Joe will be coming to. Well, he's been on DC Alliance, I think.
Yes, I think movie review.
Yeah, for the movie review. So me and him will be talking news after that, and then we will finally be able to finish the story in 2 weeks. But with that, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining the live stream, of course, and we will see you guys next week.
Later, everyone.